What you wanna do, baby? Where you wanna go? I'll take you to the moon, baby. I'll take you to the floor. I'll treat you like
And we're back. We are. You know me. It's always a dance party. I could, except she's like, Chris, we only have 30 seconds.
Anyway, our great sponsor, Dave Dickinson. Come over here, David, and I'm going to let you introduce our guest. That's
Mr. Dave Dickinson with Alamo Title up in the Woodlands.
I am delighted to be here. It's been a few weeks, and I've been missing the Rat Pack experience, but I'm glad to be back, and it's especially exciting because we've got a multitude of great agents up in the Woodlands area, and I get to work with a lot of them, but Donald Thomson is in a class by himself. He's an exceptional young talent. He's stepped into the real estate industry with no previous experience in it, and he is running with the ball like crazy. So it's a pleasure for me to introduce Donald Thomson of Keller Williams in the Woodlands.
Thank you very much.
Well, how you going to live up to that intro?
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of here, guys.
I got nothing now.
Donald, it's all your show now.
Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Well, just before we got on the air, Donald was telling me that he's actually had an interesting beginning of his career just prior to real estate, and talk a little bit about that in Laredo, of all places.
Yeah.
You were doing what?
You hear that phrase, that axiom of you can sell ice to Eskimos. Well, I sold ice hockey on the border of Mexico in Laredo, Texas.
Ice hockey.
Yes.
Now, what does that look like when you're selling ice hockey?
The first question you usually get is, well, how'd you keep the ice from melting? And I say, we did, play in an indoor arena. It was the Central Hockey League, it would be the equivalent of a AA baseball team here. I went to Texas A&M University, fighting Texas A&M.
There it is.
That's
That's
Here it is.
There it
Heard a couple
is.
whoops out there. Glenn Hart was an Aggie. He owned the hockey team down there. And, at the core, wrapping it back to real estate, it was a real estate play. Laredo was one of the fastest growing cities in the early 2000s. Laredo was here. He built the arena about 20 miles outside of downtown Laredo. And people were thinking, what the heck are you building an arena way out there for?
Well, ice hockey
Yeah.
in Laredo.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of getting my arms around that.
Well, every arena needs an anchor tenant. And so
Right.
he was just a hockey fan. And he realized that if he can keep the arena healthy and the hockey team healthy, he could develop that land and real estate around it. Fast forward 10, 15 years later, there's car dealerships, hotels, restaurants, baseball stadium. That's where he made the money. So it was a real estate play at its core, but it was a hockey thing at its fun.
Yeah, but it's
That
still
is
Laredo.
amazing.
Absolutely. Here's the thing.
Hey, be careful now. There's a lot of people from Laredo live in Houston.
And let me tell you one thing, by the way. If you haven't been to a hockey game,
Oh, boy.
you don't know what you're missing out
right.
on live. Okay,
right.
because most people, what happens is you go to and you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You tell somebody to watch it on TV.
Yep.
They're like, I don't get it.
I don't
And
get
then
it.
you go live and you get the experience live. You have a new appreciation for the game when you watch
I
it on
remember
TV.
going to see the original Arrows here
Yep.
in Houston with
Yes.
Gordie Howe and his boys.
Yes, absolutely.
That was pretty exciting to watch.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you, people down there really did gravitate toward it. It's like soccer, but it's indoor. It's fast paced. It's hitting. It's fighting. It's beer drinking. It's
It's
absolutely
everything
fun.
that we love to watch. It
It
sounds
Sounds like the
really
Rat Pack.
so we still all have all our teeth. I mean, that's
right.
That
the
is true.
difference. So how'd you transition to the Woodlands area?
I'm from the Spring Klein area. Went to Klein High School. Graduated in 2000 there. So I'm from here. And, I left Laredo, and it was a great experience. It was a life experience for sure. And, I started out selling the corporate sponsorships, and after a while, Rob, I almost felt like I was taking people's money. And it wasn't in a good sense. I was selling corporate sponsorships to mom and pop business owners. They were buying because of the relationship we had, which I appreciated. But I couldn't look them in the eye and say, Rob, I think you should renew that $27,000 sponsorship for your small business.
We need to get him himself for the Rat Pack.
They were renewing because of our relationship, which I appreciate, but I couldn't do that anymore. I wanted to come back home. I really prayed a lot about it, and I just wanted to see something where God was going to direct me to. And too long of a story for this radio show to exactly how I get into real estate, but I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
And how long have you been over there?
This is my fourth year now.
Fourth year.
God has blessed it tremendously.
Yeah. So you've had some change in the market, because I know some of the things about the Woodlands. I don't know if you're getting these kind of calls, but it was a while that you put a house on the market, and 30 minutes later you've got 6 or 8 offers. And I'm sure now you put it on the market and your sellers are calling, hey, it's been on the market 20, 30 minutes. Well, we got nothing so far.
Yeah.
It's changed a little bit. And it's usually that price point, it seems like over 700 seems to be where it kind of slows.
Right. And now with the oil the way it is, Tiffany hit it right on the head. Location is obviously the key, but if you price that house right, and I've had tremendous clients, some are listening right now who trust. And if you just trust and you give them the information, they make the decision, they price that house right, condition and it has the right condition, it will still sell.
Yeah, it's price or condition, but the reality is price, because if it's in bad condition, but you sell it cheap enough, somebody's going to buy it.
Absolutely. Done those too.
People are very price sensitive at all levels.
Yep.
At all levels. So it's interesting. And I don't know if you're doing a lot of lending out there for what you're seeing.
Well, yeah, we do a little bit of lending, Rob.
No,
but you're absolutely right. I mean, one of the things that we see, it's pretty amazing because, we're seeing it all. We have our applications right now are again at an all-time high. We've had 2 months of just blazing applications.
You've been slammed.
We've been absolutely slammed, and so it's in a good way. But one of the things that we're seeing actually is individuals now are coming back to me 2 and 3 and 4 times. They need to increase, or I lost it because of multiple bids. We're seeing some of those things come back, and what's happening, and I think we always talked about this. If you price it right, it's going to be bid up.
Yep.
If you price it high, it won't get bid up. It'll actually be undercut. And so it's always that good measure of what you have to do.
It's that age-old thing. A lot of people said, well, you know what, they can always offer me less. Let's go ahead and overprice it.
No.
And we'll see the offers. What ultimately happens is it'll stay on the market. It'll get stigmatized.
Yep.
People go, it's overpriced. I'm not even going to go there.
Right.
And you'll end up taking less than you would have gotten if you just priced it right. And the buyer for that house is usually there the first 10 days.
Absolutely.
Yep. And we're in that perfect moment because rates are still incredible. I mean,
what are rates right now?
You're looking at average rates on 30s in your mid 3s. I mean, you're looking at 15-year fixes in your 2s. I mean, you're looking at rates that are absolutely phenomenal. Your jumbo loans, anything above 417, still mid 3s as well. I mean, you can't get cheaper money than what we've got right now. And if you look at what's going on inventory wise, we talk about the Woodlands, et cetera. I mean, it's a great opportunity for buyers to get out there right now. So I think there's that perfect storm that's brewed right now.
We still have a shortage of inventory.
Yeah.
I mean, even though you're hearing some lamenting about houses sitting, but the fact is we still have under 6 months supply of homes.
Absolutely.
All of HAR.
Yep.
So it's still a little bit of a seller's market. You sellers out there, don't think that you're going to get over list price like you used to, but you're going to get a good price.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a good fair market price.
Oh, absolutely. We're still seeing them fly off. And again, the condition and the price, and you hit it right on the head. A lot of sellers think just by default, well, okay, if the market value is here, then we have to start higher to give ourselves room for negotiation. You end up chasing that market down. The longer it sits, I use that same word, Rob, stigmatize. What's wrong with it? And it depends on the price point in the subdivision, but gosh, my house is sell quick, and because my clients trust, they know it, and what we end up getting is they thought maybe I can start up here at this price. We end up getting up to that price anyway. Buy those multiple hours, and the thing is, not only do you get the best price, you get to pick the best buyer and the best lender for that buyer, and that's a huge aspect. When we have multiple offers, and say they're all the same, my seller will eventually turn to me and say, "Well, Donald, gosh, they all look great. Well, which one do you think?" And I never try to steer, obviously, but the first thing I look at is the lender. So if they're using someone like Chris, I'm going to look right at that and say, listen, this is one of the small local mortgage companies. This other buyer's using those big banks. Let's use this one because their lender's the best one out there.
It's funny. I teach that in class all the time. And I wrote a class about multiple offers. And one of the things is big banks are notorious for not closing on time. And I'm not going to say any names. Wells Fargo, but
BOA,
but
I'm chasing it.
But Chase,
the building just
BOA.
shuttered. Did you feel that? Wells Fargo building.
They don't chase anything. Just remember, we have lots of Banks of America, and
but it's true. And of course, Chris's company is really a bigger company. They're throughout Texas, but he actually called me the other day. He says it happened again. They had a multiple offer situation, and they took the offer where Chris was the lender because they knew Chris.
Yep, absolutely.
And it will close.
And it's one of those things, and it's very interesting that you point that out because, there are problem childs. There are things that happen in lending. I mean, none of us can avoid it. Anybody out there who says, I've never had a closing push, then they'd be lying as lending or they don't lend anything.
Yeah.
But it's that
year,
communication aspect of going forward, of making sure it can get done, of working through the process, et cetera. But you're right. I mean, one of the things that we've seen plenty of is individuals, when they trust on the other side, the lending and the entire process on there, it's going to be more applicable to do so. Now, the other side of things, I'm going to ask you from a buyer's agent, when you see a home that's been sitting out there for 221 days, then guess what happens?
Well, then we get to see how motivated these sellers really are.
Yeah.
I'm working with some clients right now, and we made some offers on it. We got a great deal done yesterday. The house was sitting. It was stigmatized, and it was overpriced. Now, when you go in low on an offer, you have to justify that offer to some degree. You avoid offending the seller. But we just worked it there and we justified the price. We got a great deal done, and these sellers were very, very happy just to get rid of that property.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah, I'd heard one the other day that was they said they sold it for $100,000 less than what they wanted. It was $850. They ended up selling it for $750. My thought was it should have been priced at $750 in the beginning.
Right.
They were just
well, and ultimately the appraisals. I hate to say it, one of the things that we're seeing also, the appraisals are ultimately going to determine what that true market value is, and we see also often individuals come back. You miss appraised value, they come back and say, I can't believe it missed value. Well, it wasn't priced out to begin with. So, you have to look at things, not to say that every appraiser is good at what they do, because there's a lot of bad ones out there, and we all know that.
That's when you have to overcome that psychological, that the sellers are losing something.
Yes.
They're not losing that money. They're just not getting as much as they thought they would, because they didn't really understand the market, or they didn't price it right.
The house is worth what someone will pay for it.
Exactly.
That's what it's worth.
It's an open
and that's
market.
always been a true market value. The problem is, obviously, as a bank can't quantify something that doesn't have a tangible asset to it, right? So that's the reason why we have to have
the best thing to do when you're trying to
appraisals.
make a low offer is, of course, be very humble, and when you're working with the listing agent, saying, look, I've got my CMA here, so it's worth that. It's a comparable market analysis, and if you can qualify it and be reasonable with them, a lot of times the listing agents start getting offended. Then they get their sellers all upset, and nothing goes anywhere because they self-destruct on it.
Or as a hockey guy, you can just walk in there and you pound them.
with
Oh, boy, we got stories on that.
It's a realtor check.
Yeah.
It's a realtor check.
That's right.
That's not a bad one right there. Well, Donald, we are going to be coming up against time in this segment. How can I reach you if you don't mind?
Yeah, no one remembers phone numbers. Just DonaldTRealtor.com.
DonaldTRealtor.com.
People call me DT, so just remember DonaldTRealtor.com.
Donald T. Realtor.
And I love your shirt, by the way. The DT on the shirt
Stands for Dedicated Trustworthy.
I like it.
I like that a lot. That is really good. Well, Donald, thanks a lot for being on the show today.
Thank you, guys.
You're still going to be sticking around because we have a lot of stuff to do after the show, by the way.
Yeah, breakfast
you
is
gotta come.
coming.
Breakfast at the Bend, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Great guest, courtesy of Dave Dickinson of Alamo Title.
As always.
How does he do it?
I don't know how he does it, but that's the man.
Alamo Title.
We're going to take a break right now, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.